Venezuelan cartel boats operating like warships. Caribbean Sea, 17 miles off Venezuela coast. Coast Guard surveillance detects unusual vessel, not typical fishing boat, not commercial traffic, something different. 12-meter speedboat, 4 outboard motors, 11 people aboard, moving at 80+ knots through open water. Navy-style coordination, military-grade tactics, professional execution. Drug runners evolved, no longer amateur smugglers, operating like naval strike force. Pentagon authorization immediate, rules changed, response lethal. What makes this different from every previous drug interdiction? A. Speed. B. Crew size. C. Military tactics. For decades, narcotics interdiction followed pattern: Coast Guard pursuit, warning shots, boarding action, arrest, prosecution, standard law enforcement. September 2025 shattered that paradigm. President Trump announced Operation Southern Spear, largest Caribbean military deployment since 1962. Not enforcement, warfare. USS Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group deployed August. 3 warships, 2,000 Marines, MH-60R helicopters, Hellfire missiles, combat capability. USS Gerald R Ford Carrier Strike Group arrived November. Nuclear-powered supercarrier, 90+ aircraft, 5,000+ personnel, full strike package. 9 warships total positioned Caribbean waters, B-52 bombers conducting overflights, F-35 fighters deployed Puerto Rico, 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, Nightstalkers, operating Southern Caribbean. This wasn't drug interdiction, this was combat deployment. Stay with me, because cartel tactics forced military response. The go-fast boats represented evolution in drug trafficking, not improvised smuggling, sophisticated naval operations. Typical go-fast specifications: 20-50 feet length, deep V hull, fiberglass, kevlar, carbon fiber construction, multiple high-horsepower engines, 750 kilowatt to 2,000+ horsepower. Top speed, 80-90 knots, 92-103 mph. Radar-resistant profile, minimal accommodation, maximum speed. Cost, $100,000 to $1+ million depending configuration. These weren't fishing boats modified for smuggling, purpose-built speedcraft, racing heritage, military-grade performance, and cartels operating them with naval coordination. September 1st incident demonstrated sophistication. 11-person crew unusual. Typical go-fast, 2 to 3 crew maximum, maybe 4 if expecting trouble. 11 people suggests different mission profile: command structure, specialists, security element, communications, navigation, engineering, tactical coordination. Navy-style crew organization. Route planning showed professional intelligence. Departure point, San Juan de Unare, Sucre State, Venezuela. Destination, Trinidad and Tobago, 7 miles offshore. Transfer point for Caribbean, European routes. Not direct U.S. bound. Multi-stage operation, compartmentalized network, transshipment strategy, harder to trace, multiple fallback options. Timing calculated for darkness, sea state, patrol gaps, intelligence on Coast Guard positions, satellite surveillance awareness, counter-surveillance measures. Which organization was targeted in first strike? A. Sinaloa. B. Tren de Aragua. C. Zetas. Tren de Aragua, Venezuelan transnational criminal organization. Originated Aragua state prison system. Expanded throughout hemisphere. Human trafficking, extortion, drug smuggling, violence. Trump administration designated them foreign terrorist organization February 2025. Changed legal framework. Changed rules of engagement. Not just street gang, Justice Department stated. Highly structured terrorist organization that has destroyed American families with brutal violence, engaged in human trafficking, and spread deadly drugs through communities. But Tren de Aragua wasn't typical cartel structure, not centralized like Sinaloa or Zetas. Decentralized network, multiple cells, local alliances, adaptive tactics. Insight crime research found limited evidence Tren de Aragua directly controlled drug maritime routes. More likely, subcontracted crews, local smugglers, hybrid operations, partnership with Cartel de los Soles. Cartel de los Soles, Cartel of the Suns, named for insignia worn by Venezuelan generals. Not traditional drug organization, state-embedded network, military-civil fusion, government officials profiting from trafficking, corruption institutionalized. U.S. indicted Venezuelan President Maduro March 2020 as cartel leader. Charges: narco-terrorism, conspiracy, drug trafficking, alleged coordination with FARC, Sinaloa Cartel, Colombian ELN, Zetas, Tren de Aragua. State Department designated Cartel de los Soles foreign terrorist organization, November 24, 2025. Effective immediately. Allowed military targeting. Expanded response options. Warfare Signal analyzed this designation carefully. Critics noted, DEA never listed Cartel de los Soles in National Drug Threat Assessment. UN World Drug Report made no mention. Evidence disputed. Centralized cartel versus fragmented corruption networks unclear. But designation gave legal justification. Military force authorized. Regime change possible. If cartels operate like military, should response be military? Comment, yes or no. September 1, 2025, the first strike. Coast Guard Law Enforcement Detachment, LEDET, 404 spotted target vessel. 17 miles off Venezuelan coast. International waters. 4-engine speedboat. High-speed transit. Suspicious behavior. Previous protocol: pursue, disable engines with warning fire, board, arrest. New protocol: destroy. MH-60R helicopter launched from USS Lake Erie. Approach target. No warning. No boarding attempt. No negotiation. Hellfire missile fired. Direct hit. Vessel exploded. Fireball visible from satellite. 11 people killed instantly. No survivors. No arrests. No intelligence gathered. Trump released video. Black and white infrared. Speedboat racing through water. Sudden explosion. Complete destruction. 11 Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists eliminated, Trump announced. Venezuelan Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello disputed immediately. None were Tren de Aragua members, he claimed. Extrajudicial murder. Local villagers in San Juan de Unare told different story. Families identified victims. Fishermen. Low-level smugglers. Not terrorist leadership. Not cartel kingpins. But evidence disappeared in Fireball. No bodies recovered. No cargo examined. No interrogation possible. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth warned, "This won't stop with just this strike. We've got assets in the air, assets in the water, assets on ships, because this is deadly serious mission." He was right. Quiz answer: 11-person crew unusual for go-fast boats. Typical crews, 2-3 people. Large crew suggests military-style organization with specialized roles. September 15th, second strike, 4 people killed, Eastern Pacific. September 20th, third strike, 6 dead, Caribbean. By December 31st, 2025, 115 people killed, 35 strikes, 36 vessels destroyed. Pattern clear, systematic campaign, not interdiction, elimination. Tactics evolved. Drones provided persistent surveillance. MQ-9 Reaper conducting 24-hour overwatch. Scan Eagle UAV tracking targets. Satellite imagery identifying departure points. High-frequency surface wave radar, HFSWR, detecting vessels beyond horizon. Forward-looking infrared, FLIR systems, tracking heat signatures nighttime. Acoustic sensor networks capturing propeller noise underwater. Detection capabilities unprecedented. Go-fast boats no longer invisible. No longer able to exploit darkness, distance, weather. Once detected, rapid response. Helicopters scrambled, missiles launched, vessels destroyed, crews killed. No boarding, no arrest, no evidence collection, no intelligence exploitation. Law enforcement became warfare. Coast Guard Helicopter Interdiction Tactical Squadron, HITRON, traditionally conducted pursuits. Armed helicopters with M240 machine guns, Barrett 50 caliber rifles. Disable engines, force stop, board, arrest. Operation Southern Spear different. Military assets, combat rules. Lethal force first option, not last resort. Questions emerged immediately. Legal, ethical, strategic. Which warship group deployed first? A. USS Gerald R. Ford. B. USS Iwo Jima. C. USS Lake Erie. International law experts unanimous. Strikes violated international law, not armed conflict, criminal activity, law enforcement matter, not military operation. UN Convention on Law of Sea, UNCLOS, requires cooperation, not destruction. Vienna Convention against illicit traffic in narcotic drugs mandates prosecution, not elimination. U.S. Maritime Drug Law Enforcement Act authorizes boarding, seizure, not lethal strikes, not killing crew before evidence gathered. Trump administration claimed Article 2 authority, Commander-in-Chief powers, self-defense, national emergency at southern border. October 1, 2025, Trump formally notified Congress. U.S. in non-international armed conflict with unlawful combatants. Cartels designated enemy forces. Laws of armed conflict applicable. Miami Herald explained, in armed conflict, country can lawfully kill enemy fighters even when they pose no threat. But legal scholars disputed foundation. Not armed conflict. Cartels not organized armed groups meeting intensity threshold. Violence not directed against state. Criminal activity, not warfare. Brian Finucane, former State Department legal advisor. President asserting prerogative to kill people based solely on his own say-so. Executive fiat, making it permissible for president to engage in premeditated killing. Senator Rand Paul, indiscriminately killing people without knowing names, without seeing evidence, without formal accusation or collecting evidence. Shoot first, ask questions later. Human rights organizations condemned strikes. Colombian government protested. Venezuelan government accused U.S. of extrajudicial murder. But Republican Senate twice rejected resolutions limiting Trump's authority. Military action continued. Escalation intensified. Warfare signal must note, many killed were low-level smugglers, not cartel leadership, not terrorist masterminds, fishermen, local crew, expendable assets. Cartels view crews as disposable. Young men, 15-24 years old, paid minimal wages, given minimal information, no strategic value. Destroying boats doesn't destroy networks. Killing crew doesn't kill organization. Cocaine supply remained robust. European markets unaffected. U.S. fentanyl crisis continued. Strategic effectiveness, questionable. Tactical spectacle, undeniable. Rate this tactic. Effective deterrent or political theater. Vote E or T. But go-fast boat tactics genuinely sophisticated. That part undeniable. Multi-engine configuration allowed redundancy. One engine fails, others compensate. Damage one motor, boat continues. Disable two engines, third maintains speed. Fuel logistics calculated precisely. Go-fast boats, high consumption. 80+ knots burns fuel rapidly. Routes planned around refueling points. Caches pre-positioned. Supply vessels staged. Network coordination. Communication protocols secured. Encrypted radios, satellite phones, coded messages, signal discipline, operational security. Counter-surveillance awareness, understanding radar limitations, exploiting weather, using sea clutter, timing transits, route variations, deception tactics. Some operations included decoy vessels, multiple boats launched simultaneously, split Coast Guard response, overwhelmed tracking capacity, One gets through while others intercepted. Night operations leveraged technology gaps. Infrared signatures minimized. Navigation without lights. GPS coordination. Pre-plotted waypoints. Electronic charts. Weather exploitation sophisticated. Storm fronts provided cover. Rough seas deterred pursuit. Reduced radar effectiveness. Complicated helicopter operations. Speed made interception difficult. Coast Guard cutters, 28-30 knots maximum. Go-fast boats, 80-90 knots. Simple math, can't catch what you can't match. Coast Guard developed fast response boats. Rigid hull inflatable boats, RHIBs. 70 knots maximum. Closer, but still insufficient. Required helicopter support. Coordinated operations. Perfect execution. Even then, success rate. 10% of pursued vessels according to critics. 90% interdiction rate claimed by Coast Guard for vessels actually engaged. Difference. Detection. Most go-fasts never spotted. Late 2000s assessment. 70% success rate for go-fast operations overall. Majority reached destinations, delivered cargo, returned home. Cost-benefit analysis favored smugglers. One successful run paid for 10 destroyed boats. Crew casualties regrettable but acceptable. Business model sustainable. Military strikes changed calculations somewhat. Made operations riskier, but didn't eliminate profit margin. Didn't destroy networks. Didn't stop trafficking. Quiz. Go-fast boats can exceed how many knots? A. 50 B. 80 C. 100. December 18, 2025. Escalation reached Venezuela itself. ELN, National Liberation Army. Storage facility, northwestern Venezuela. Colombian border region. Explosion reported. Witnesses saw destruction. War zone analyzed missile fragments. Assessment, U.S. drone strike. First attack on Venezuelan soil. Crossed red line. Not international waters. Venezuelan territory. Sovereign nation. Act of war. Venezuela protested. Colombia condemned. International community silent. UN took no action. Trump administration justified under foreign terrorist organization designation. Cartel de los Soles designated November 24th. Venezuelan government categorized as terrorist entity led by Maduro. Designation allows U.S. military ability to target Maduro's assets and infrastructure inside Venezuela, State Department explained. January 3, 2026. Operation Absolute Resolve. Multiple explosions Caracas. Low-flying aircraft reported. La Carlota military airbase destroyed. Anti-aircraft systems eliminated. Pre-dawn raid. Special Operations Forces. Maduro captured. Wife captured. Flown out of country. Brought to United States. Charged in Southern District, New York. Narco-terrorism. Drug trafficking. Weapons charges. Leader of Cartel de los Soles. Using cocaine to deliberately flood America with drugs. Trump announced, "We will run Venezuela until such time we can do safe, proper, judicious transition." Regime change accomplished. Government toppled. U.S. military occupation implied. All justified as counter-narcotics operation. All started with go-fast boat strikes. Former Admiral James Stavridis characterized campaign. Gunboat diplomacy, demonstrating vulnerability of Venezuelan oil rigs and materiel. Drug interdiction likely not sole reason for increased military activity. New York Times reported, officials led by Secretary of State Marco Rubio pushing military campaign to drive Maduro from power. Venezuelan opposition coordinating with Trump administration on first 100 hours post-Maduro plan. Benjamin Gadan, former Obama White House Venezuela lead. Such overkill in naval deployment. No justification if all U.S. trying to do is attack couple small boats and intimidate drug traffickers. Either bluff meant to scare Venezuelan generals into rising up and removing president, or actual preparations for war. War came, disguised as drug interdiction, justified by cartel tactics, enabled by go-fast boat evolution. Warfare signal recognizes pattern. When criminal organizations adopt military tactics, governments respond with military force. When smugglers operate like naval strike groups, navies treat them as enemy combatants. Legal arguments become secondary. Strategic objectives override law enforcement. Political goals subsume counter-narcotics mission. Go-fast boats became pretext. Sophisticated tactics provided justification. Navy-style coordination proved threat assessment. Military response followed inevitably. Final question. When criminals use military tactics, does law enforcement end and warfare begin? The answer determined September 2025. Changed forever how drug interdiction conducted. Transformed Caribbean from law enforcement zone into combat theater. 115 people killed. 0 arrests, 0 prosecutions, 0 intelligence gathered, 0 organizational disruption. But one regime toppled, one government occupied, one strategic objective achieved. Cartels continue operations. New crews recruited. New boats launched. New routes established. Cocaine keeps flowing. Fentanyl keeps killing. But U.S. military demonstrated capability, showed willingness, established precedent. Other nations watching. China, Russia, Iran, noting methods, recording tactics, planning responses. When great powers use military force against non-state actors in international waters without legal foundation, everyone learns lesson. Not about drugs, about power. Go-fast boats evolved into naval-style operations. U.S. response evolved into warfare. Venezuela government evolved into casualty. And 115 people died in explosions over open water. Their names mostly unknown. Their affiliations disputed, their guilt unproven. But their tactics? Sophisticated enough to justify everything that followed. Subscribe to Warfare Signal, where cartel tactics trigger military response. Hit that like button if this analysis revealed Operation Southern Spear's real objectives. Drop your thoughts in comments. The go-fast boats keep running. The military strikes keep coming. The precedents keep expanding. And nobody knows where this ends.